Hello everyone. So I thought I'd make a video. I made the Corrupting Fever video, it went pretty well. I finished with the Corrupting Fever champion. I wanted to play something else. I wanted to play Magic Find for the entire league really. But I haven't had a Headhunter, and going Magic Find without a Headhunter is pretty risky, I would say. Without a Headhunter, Magic Find is pretty painful. Because you just don't have any damage. You sacrifice, I'm sacrificing 2 ring slots, boots, an amulet, and a flask right here for Magic Sun, which is quite a big thing to give up. But as you can see, I have 45% quant and then 131% rarity during the flask effect. The flask effect is up 85% of the time. I'm not gonna say it's 100%, but it's up very often. And obviously, yeah, you don't go omniscient, so you go like a quant amulet. So I've gone for this because it had life, resistances, mana reservation efficiency, and quant, so it's pretty good. Auras I'm running Precision, Grace, Wrath, Defiance Banner. I have Wrath, Enlighten, Anomalous Grace, and Anomalous Precision all in here. I was running like Herald of Ice before I brought an Enlighten. I can fit, so what I am going to do is when I buy an Enlighten 4, I will just roll. So like the Eldritch implicit on here is just like filler. It's just like I didn't get anything with the Ickers. So I want mana reservation on the helmet. And then with this amulet, I can run Herald of Ice as well. So I put the Herald of Ice in here and the Enlighten set up, and then I'll just put Precision somewhere else in my gear. Probably end up dropping Val Haste at that point, possibly. And then be running more auras, and I would not be running Defiance Banner. So I guess maybe I'll just replace the Defiance Banner slot here with Herald of Ice when I get an item, but I'm not sure. But yeah, so this is the bow I brought. Crucible Trees, pretty decent attributes, global modifiers like the elemental. This is about, I think it's like 900 EDPS. Yeah, 1800 EDPS with the reduced global damage. So it's not great, but I only paid like 30 diff for it, and it's got Blood Rage on it for Frenzy generation, which is pretty nice. Quiver, just standard +1 arrow quiver with anything that benefits bow skills. I've got crit multi, life, additional arrow, and elemental damage with attack skills, just because that was all I could craft on it. Helmet, spell suppression, no enchant. I needed int, so I've got int, life, and then resistances, and I've crafted fizz taken as. And then the chest, obviously, spell suppression, fracture with int, life, and resistances I needed. With grace, aura effect, and increased effect of non-curse auras with fizz taken as crafted on that one as well. Gloves, as you can see, is a reoccurring pattern. Fracture, spell suppression, life, and I've got chaos res on here because I didn't need any resistances, and implicits are 7 spell suppress and rage on hit. The reason I've got the spell suppression implicit is because I'm running ancestral vision. Ideally you can run the quant gloves and go ancestral vision, but then you need to take these points here, so you need to take crystal skin, and this is 7 points, and taking this here was 4 points with spell suppression on the gloves. So I've done that to save myself 3 points, which is pretty nice. Got a Lionize 4 here for the crit, so I don't run a crit flask because I am using a gold flask, and then a medium cluster here, a large cluster even with no medium clusters in it, just for the additional jewel sockets. So I've got ancestral vision, and then a Watcher's Eye giving attack damage while affected by precision, because this is really cheap and it gives you about 10% more damage. It's pretty good. And then bow mastery, obviously additional arrow here, and then the bow mastery for increases and reductions to projectile speed, also apply to damage with bows, which is why we run the feathered arrow quiver for the extra damage. And then I have the attack mastery here, which gives an additional projectile, and then nearby enemies are intimidated when you have rage, so that synergizes with the implicit. This build's alright. I'm running obviously lightning arrow, mirage archer, trinity, elemental damage of attacks, increased crits. So this is crit strikes. So as you can see, without a diamond flask, I have on my lightning arrow 79% crit, which is more than enough. So that's why I've gone for increased crit strikes. If I had a diamond flask, I would drop the gold flask, and then I would replace this with crit damage for that extra crit multi, but that's why I'm doing that. helmet, steel skin, frost blink, haste, blink arrow. Haste is just for the Val haste. I'm not using the actual aura. And then I've got a barrage set up, so added cold, inspiration, barrage, hypothermia, elemental damage of attacks, and increased critical damage support. So I did actually check. Critical damage is actually better with the barrage, but I think the crit strikes is better with the lightning arrow because of the shock. So that's why I've done that. It just gives you more consistency. And then sniper's mark on hit, and life tap because I only have 63 mana. Also running Defiance Banner. Defiance Banner is kind of shit, right? But I couldn't fit anything else, so I've just taken that. And then I've got Wrath, Enlighten, Anonymous Grace, and Precision. Obviously I'm ailment immune, so elemental ailment immune. Chaos resistance is a bit of an issue. Spell suppression capped. With 22 evasion, so like this character is like really squishy. It's a bow build, so that's to be expected. And I'm running a strategy that isn't really benefiting from Magic Find at all at the minute. I'm just using the maps up from what I was doing on my Corrupting Fever guy. This is a tier 16 cemetery with like fucking not very many bad mods. Ambush Scarab, Cartographer Scarab, Legion Scarab, Sacrifice Fragment, and Ambush on the map device. The POB will be in description. This is a mapping build. I just want to be very, very clear. You will not be able to kill boss. Well, you probably can kill bosses on this build. But a single target's ass, and I wouldn't use Gilded Scarabs like I am. I just had a bunch left over from when I was doing Legion on the Corrupting Fever guy who was immortal, but I have died a few times to Legion Generals doing this, so yeah, I'm a 0 XP gamer. Luckily I'm level 97, so it's not caused too many issues. This build sort of excels like when you start getting Headhunter buffs. So for anyone who doesn't know, Legions have a shitload of rare monsters in them. So synergizing a Headhunter with something like Legion or even beyond, anything that has a lot of rare monsters, just sort of turns your character into a powerhouse, which is why I've always been a very big fan of Legion. As you can see, I've got 32 buffs from breaking open that Legion, and when you have that many buffs, you don't need to worry about like your single target and stuff like that. So it takes a lot of stress off of the build, because obviously this is very much similar to what I league started with Tornado Shot. So my Tornado Shot league starter was just borrowed power, but on like the lower end. I don't want to play Tornado Shot again, which is why I've gone Lightning Arrow, by the way. So I thought about Tornado Shot, but just to get like Helm Enchant and have it fit my gear without using Omniscience and stuff like that, I just didn't want to do it. So I've gone for Lightning Arrow. I will probably go Magic Find Tornado Shot or like Super Juice Tornado Shot with Omniscience again, or I might just continue with Lightning Arrow and see how far I can take it, because Lightning Arrow feels pretty nice, and I quite like the barrage setup as well. So obviously I leave everything at the end because it's a Headhunter build, so you don't want to be losing buffs. But as you can see, I'm sitting on 60 Headhunter buffs. And my internet is absolutely atrocious, so it also contributes. As you can see, I'm lagging like fuck. Head into the arena, say goodnight to the boss, give me a little kiss, and then that's it. So once you have Headhunter buffs, like, it's irrelevant, right? So this isn't a build guide. There's a build showcase. I'm not going to tell people to go out there and go, yeah, bro, you need a Headhunter for this build. You do need a Headhunter for this build to feel nearly as good as it does and be as fast as it is. You can play Lightning Arrow without a Headhunter, but I would really, really, really recommend using Inspired Learnings, because Deadeye has a lot of pitfalls in terms of like defenses, and there's stuff you can do, but if you wanted to zoom and go Magic Find, you're going to need Inspired Learnings or a Headhunter. Also, don't do Legion. Really, I would do like strong boxes with the Enraged Sextant. If you're using Magic Find, like quantity doesn't really affect Legion at all, as far as I'm aware. As you can see, even with like a very little amount of Headhunter buffs, you absolutely destroy Legion Generals. But I am still on the fence about whether or not I want to do them, because they are just very dangerous, and like the only thing that kills me in maps is the Templar's channeling attack or the chaos damage slam from the Marrakech general, so like obviously you can see why I'm a bit hesitant. So a build like this is probably going to excel somewhere like Crimson Temple, where you're not fighting these huge monsters. Obviously you got like the odd tanky rare, right, but they're not like a unique boss with significantly more health than something else, and by the time you kill the boss in that map, you've blasted all the content away. But yeah, overall I'm pretty happy with this character. I'm not going to invest any more money into it at this point. I'm just going to use it to keep grinding and probably try some of the like quantity stacking stuff. I might end up switching off of Magic Find as well, but I did the map showcase this time because a lot of people were complaining. But yeah, I'll put the POB in the description if you want to do something similar. You know, this build is pretty good for what I want it to do. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't mind dying as a Magic Find character too much. And there's definitely a lot of room for improvement. Like, this character's a day old, so I haven't like min-maxed it. I've just sort of like thrown everything together and been like, okay, this works. You know, I've hit what like my minimum standards, like I said. Element immunity, a little bit of chaos res. I'm not really happy with minus 25 spell smashing chance, and then above 20k evasion, with decent damage and good single target through barrage. But that's pretty much everything. I'll probably make like an updated video when I've got like a bit more juice, if I switch skills or something like that. So thanks for watching, and see ya.